Hey everyone! We've all been there, right? Facing a conversation that makes our stomachs churn, our palms sweat. You know, the kind of conversation where the stakes feel high, emotions run deep, and the outcome feels uncertain. These conversations are just plain difficult. But here's the thing, avoiding these conversations doesn't make them disappear. In fact, it often makes things worse, creating more distance, more resentment, more hurt. So today, we're diving deep into practical strategies to help you stay calm and composed during these tough conversations. Because mastering difficult conversations isn't about winning or being right. It's about showing up with courage, authenticity, and a willingness to connect, even when it's hard. One of the most powerful tools we have when navigating difficult conversations is the pause. Now, I know what you're thinking. Brene, pausing? In the heat of the moment? That feels impossible. Trust me, I get it. When emotions are running high, our instinct is often to react, to defend, to fire back. But here's the thing. Reacting from that place rarely leads to a positive outcome. Instead, it often escalates the situation, leaving everyone feeling misunderstood and unheard. That's where the power of the pause comes in. Pausing, even for a few seconds, allows us to create a space between our emotions and our reactions. It gives us a chance to take a breath, to calm our nervous system, and to choose a more thoughtful response. So, how do we actually do this? How do we hit the pause button when our minds are racing and our emotions are on high alert? Here are a few practical techniques. First, try taking a deep breath. Inhale slowly, exhale slowly. This simple act can do wonders for calming your nervous system. Second, don't be afraid to ask for a moment to collect your thoughts. You can say something like, "This is important to me, and I want to make sure I'm expressing myself clearly. Can I have a moment to gather my thoughts?" And finally, sometimes the most powerful pause is simply saying, "Let me think about that for a second." This gives you a chance to process what's been said and to respond from a place of thoughtfulness rather than reactivity. Remember, pausing isn't about shutting down or avoiding the conversation. It's about showing up with presence and intention, even when it's hard. You know, we often think communication is about the words we say, but the truth is, so much of what we communicate happens beyond words. It's in our tone of voice, our body language, our facial expressions. Active listening is about tuning into all of it, the words, the emotions behind the words, the unspoken messages. It's about truly seeking to understand the other person's perspective, even if we don't agree with it. One of the most powerful ways to practice active listening is to pay attention to nonverbal cues. What's the other person's body language telling you? Are they tense, relaxed? Are they making eye contact? Or are they looking away? Their tone of voice can also reveal a lot about their emotional state. Are they speaking quickly and forcefully? Or are they speaking softly and hesitantly? Paying attention to these cues can give us valuable insights into what the other person is feeling and needing. Another important aspect of active listening is reflecting back what we hear. This means summarizing what the other person has said to ensure we understand their perspective. You can say something like, "What I'm hearing you say is," or "It sounds like you're feeling." This not only helps to clarify understanding, but it also shows the other person that we're truly listening and that we care about what they have to say. And remember, active listening is about creating a safe space for the other person to feel heard and understood. It's about resisting the urge to interrupt, to offer unsolicited advice, or to dismiss their feelings, even if we don't agree with them. When we listen with empathy and understanding, we create a foundation for connection and resolution, even in the midst of difficult conversations. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to get caught in a spiral of negativity, especially during a difficult conversation? It's like one negative statement fuels another, and before you know it, the conversation has gone from bad to worse. That's where the art of reframing comes in. Reframing is about consciously choosing to shift our perspective, to look for the positive, and to find common ground even in the midst of disagreement. One way to reframe is to turn negative statements into neutral or even positive ones. For example, instead of saying, "I'm so frustrated that you're always late," you could say, "I know you're doing your best to be on time, and I appreciate that. Is there anything we can do to make it easier for you to arrive on time in the future?" See the difference? The first statement is accusatory and likely to put the other person on the defensive. The second statement acknowledges the problem while also expressing understanding and seeking a solution. Another powerful way to reframe is to focus on shared goals and common ground. Even when we disagree, there are usually areas where we can find common ground. For example, if you're having a disagreement with a coworker about a project, you might start by saying, "I know we both want this project to be successful. Let's see if we can find a way to move forward that works for both of us." Reframing isn't about denying our feelings or pretending that everything is okay when it's not. It's about choosing to approach the conversation with a more positive and solution-oriented mindset. It's about looking for the good, even in the midst of challenges, and believing that even in the toughest conversations, there's always the possibility for connection and understanding. Conflict is a natural part of any relationship. It's what we do with conflict that determines whether it tears us apart or brings us closer together. When we respond to conflict with defensiveness, criticism, or blame, we escalate the situation, making it harder to find common ground. But when we respond with empathy, understanding, and a willingness to listen, we create a space for de-escalation and resolution. One of the most effective ways to de-escalate conflict is to use I statements. I statements allow us to express our feelings and needs without blaming or attacking the other person. For example, instead of saying, "You're always criticizing me," you could say, "I feel hurt and disrespected when I feel criticized." See the difference? The first statement is likely to make the other person defensive. The second statement focuses on your own feelings and experiences, making it more likely that the other person will be receptive to hearing what you have to say. Another important aspect of de-escalating conflict is to focus on the problem, not the person. When we focus on the problem, we can work together to find a solution that works for everyone involved. But when we focus on the person, we create division and make it harder to find common ground. For example, instead of saying, "You're being so difficult," you could say, "I'm having trouble understanding your perspective. Can you help me understand where you're coming from?" Remember, de-escalating conflict isn't about being right or winning the argument. It's about finding a way to move forward together, with respect and understanding. Even the most difficult conversations can end on a positive note. It's about how we choose to close the conversation, how we acknowledge the other person, and how we set the stage for future interactions. First and foremost, it's important to summarize the key points discussed and any agreements reached. This ensures that everyone is on the same page and reduces the likelihood of misunderstandings down the road. You can say something like, "Okay, so just to recap, we've agreed to," or "It sounds like we're both committed to finding a solution that works for everyone." Next, express appreciation for the other person's willingness to engage in the conversation, even if you don't agree on everything. Acknowledge their perspective and thank them for their honesty and vulnerability. You could say something like, "I know this wasn't an easy conversation, and I appreciate you being open and honest with me." Or, "I value your perspective and I'm grateful that we were able to have this conversation." Finally, set a positive tone for future interactions. Let the other person know that you're open to continuing the conversation and that you're committed to finding a resolution that works for both of you. You might say something like, "I'm confident that we can work through this together." Or, "I'm committed to finding a solution that works for both of us, and I'm open to continuing this conversation when you're ready." Remember, ending on a positive note doesn't mean sweeping issues under the rug or pretending that everything is okay when it's not. It's about choosing to approach the situation with hope and a belief that even in the midst of challenges, connection and understanding are possible. So there you have it, friends. 5 powerful strategies to help you stay calm, composed, and even courageous during those tough conversations that life throws our way. Remember, mastering difficult conversations is a practice, a journey, not a destination. It's about showing up with authenticity, vulnerability, and a willingness to connect, even when it's hard. If you found these strategies helpful, give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone who might benefit from it. And be sure to subscribe to our channel for more tips on cultivating meaningful connections and navigating the complexities of human relationships. Until next time, take care and keep showing up with courage.